What's the SZS thing your sir has done? We live in a 5th floor apartment with a parking garage for a movie theater across the way. Not right outside the window, it's about a block away. I've noticed before that you can't see into our apartment from the garage when our lights are off because of the reflection from the outside. One night at dinner we started talking about fantasies and I told her about how I'd like to stand her at the window facing out toward the parking garage and undress her. Maybe press her against the window and do her from behind a little. She was into the idea. Check please. So we get home. Open the door. Pretty much drop my keys. Grab her hand. And take her straight over to the window. Put her palms on the glass. She says, "Oh. I thought you meant with all the lights on." So. Apparently. After reading a hell of a lot of posts here. I had a girlfriend who was very vanilla sexually. Which was fine. She was young and I was her first boyfriend. Not a big deal. We were watching Clue once early in our relationship and I commented about how I thought French maid outfits are incredibly SI. She didn't make much of this comment at the time. About a year and a half later. I come home from work one Friday after a long and TTY day to find a note on the door that said something like home cleaning services conducted by Bianca Cleaning LLC. My girlfriend lived in a different city. But she had a key to my place. This was the first time she had ever used it. She got to my place. Let herself in. And then set up my apartment to look like a cleaning service was there cleaning. She had a full maid outfit. Everything. She was fully committed to the role playing. 2. She called herself Bianca. And didn't drop the act one bit until we were done having sex. It was awesome. Both because it fulfilled a mild fantasy I had. But also because it was a total surprise to me. I love it when we're kissing in front of my bed and he spins around and pushes me down onto it and climbs on top of me. Just the anticipation. Also when he's f-king me he'll put his hand on my mouth for me to suck his fingers, which for some reason gets me so hot. After one of our dates. We got back to my house. She asked to take a quick shower. Yeah, cool. Do what you do. The shower stopped and she was kind of taking her time to come out. So I went out to the kitchen to grab a soda and a bag of chips. I walk back into my room as she's coming out of the bathroom in some SI black lingerie. I stopped and stared at her and quickly proclaimed, "I brought chips." I don't know why she still likes me. I brought chips. I walked into the room and she was waiting there on the bed face down ass up. This was in my parents' house. I don't think that girl cared if one of them walked in. Plot twist. She was expecting your dad. I had a sorely conservative Jewish girlfriend in college. One year for her birthday she really wanted a Star of David necklace. I obliged and purchased the best looking white gold and diamond Star of David my budget could afford. I had it delivered to her apartment. I woke up to a picture message of her asking if I liked the way it looked. It was the only thing she was wearing. Or they. Was on a Skype call with a guy I was doing a project with. She came into my office. Got under the desk. And proceeded to blow me and would stop if I didn't keep interacting and talking to him. If you had asked me what 10 plus 10 was I'd tell you I didn't know. Edit. To clarify. This was an audio call. Not video. The in-laws took the kids for a weekend trip. I joked about S-ing on the kitchen table. Next morning I enter the kitchen to see my wife eating a bowl of cereal at the counter. Completely naked. 14 years of marriage and my typically prudish wife has still got a few surprises for me. Edit. Yes, this is a throwaway account. Edit the second. Damn it, Reddit. Making me paranoid enough to remove reason throwaway context. I teased my ex once saying she was so tight I didn't think I would fit. So she whispered in my ear. Push. My last GF practically pushed me against a wall and proceeded to blow me. It was the pushing me around that really got me going. I dated this girl who would give me a blowjob. And right as I started to come, she'd deep throat my dick and let me come straight down her throat. Easily the best blowjobs I've ever gotten. And just thinking of them gives me a hard on. Apparently that's a trick to avoid tasting it. Walked into my bedroom getting ready to go to sleep and found my wife laying on the bed in nothing but black fishnet thigh highs and an extremely sheer black top. Who needs sleep anyway? It was an ex-butt. She was coming. I was about to. I pulled out and was finishing and she looked back and commanded, "Don't you dare stop f***ing me." Yes, mom. The sex after that was absolutely astounding. An ex-GF from a few years back, Asush and I were watching South Park and she started to kiss my neck and ear while whispering things like "I want you so bad." Then she unzipped my jeans and started blowing me. But just as it started, her roommate came home and we barely got my pants back on before she walked in. We were also in the living room of the house. The roommate talked to us about her date for like 10 f***ing minutes. All the while I'm thinking that the spontaneous mood was killed. So the roommate finally leaves the room and I look at my GF. And I say something like "That was interesting." To which she replies with a straight face, "Oh, I wasn't listening at all. All I was only thinking about was having your cock back in my mouth." Which led to the most unbelievable PRNO quality head I've ever received. I'll never forget that line. Having her say something like that in that moment was one of the easiest things I've ever experienced. The way that she looks back at it while she's slamming that finesse on me. Just told her last night how much I enjoyed it. Thank God for squats and hip thrusts. The day my girl started to love lifting was the gateway to the finest ass I ever got the chance to know. The first time I wasn't wearing a condom with my girlfriend. She was riding my brains out. And I was still a bit sketched out to come inside of her. Even though she is on birth control. As I am about to come. I tell her that so she can get up, but she squeezes around my legs and shakes her head in a no sort of way, and I come inside of her and it was the best sex of my life. I'll never forget how SI that she was. Leveraging those evolutionary moves. We shower together but normally we don't fool around. Water makes penetration difficult. Slippery tub. Etc. Close bracket. This day she drops to her knees. Blows me and then finishes me on her face. Leans back in the water to clean off. Hops up and exits the shower. The SI part was the initiation and the finish. I normally initiate and I like to finish on her face. Taking the initiative on both was so f***ing hot. We always watched a pretty stupid TV show together. While watching it she would often look at me with a face that said "I'm horny f. PLSFCK me" while not saying a word. I would always fool around and act like I didn't see it and that I was intensely watching the TV show until I couldn't hold a straight face anymore and f***ed her. I was going to say that it was when she blew me at the movie theater, but before we moved in together, I would visit my GF at her mom's house all the time. We would talk dirty to each other all day via text and calls. I got to her house and her sister had randomly showed up, so we were unable to just go upstairs to her room and so sat down to a disappointing night of takeout and TV. Her sister went upstairs to shower, so my GF starts rubbing me while looking me in the eye and licking her lips. Fast forward and we ended up f***ing on her couch while her sister was upstairs in the shower. Not a big house so we could still hear, and every time she would start to moan or make noise she would bury her teeth into my shoulder. Ended up having bite marks for over a week, but 100% still worth it. And yes, I f***ing married her. She came into my house wearing thigh-high leather boots, a winter coat, and nothing underneath but crotchless panties and a push-up bra. She cooked me a delicious dinner and asked me to FCK her from behind standing up while she cooked. I f***ing love her. The first time we slept with each other she was giving me one of the finest blowjobs I've ever had. I was getting pretty close to finishing, so I told her I was about to come. She didn't stop. Stared into my eyes and just smiled. She even went back to lick the tip to clean up the after tremors. I still think about that girl. Edit. Obligatory. This blew up and I can't believe my most upvoted comment is about my getting my tip sucked. We wanted to do some roleplay and she suggested playing an high class escort. So she created 3 personalities for herself: dominant, normal, submissive, to offer to me depending on her mood. I can message her when I feel up for it and she will acknowledge whether she is in the mood and which mood. Upon agreement she will dress up in fine lingerie and wake me up when I am returning home, or go outside and ring the doorbell. Said I can't stop coming. I still think about that one. And they won't stop coming. In college my GF drive down to pick me up to go back home for Christmas break. She shows up at Apt in a long black coat. It was winter so fine. She comes in and asks if my roommates were here. I told her they had left already. She drops the coat to reveal that she was butt-ass naked. We were late getting home. How come you were late? Was there a tree that had fallen down? Or was there too much snow? Came to my job about an hour before I was going to open the store. Tight skirt. Everything done up. Asked why she showed up. Bored? Well, in that case let me show you the back room. You won't believe what they put here. I was walking home from work. She met me halfway and slipped something in my pocket. It was the remote control to her vibrator. I had her interview so she helped me prep and she even dressed up and we did a little mock interview just to prepare myself mentally. When I got home she greeted me by the door in her dress shirt unbuttoned and nothing else and took me by the tie and pulled me to her bed. Told me I was a stud and that I killed the interview before I could get a word out at it. I got a bunch of jobs that night. The one I interviewed for was not one of them. My wife, for months, was secretly going through a lot of trouble to buy me a Nintendo Switch without me knowing it. Everything from small cashbacks at the store, buying Amazon gift cards off people, etc. She had to do this because, being married, we share everything, including the bank accounts, and I check them regularly. After months of planning and action, she buys me a Switch for my birthday and surprises me with it. I had been talking about wanting it for almost a year but never did due to cost. Blew me away. Woke me up out of a dead sleep for SX. No words. Just pure, unbridled, animalistic, lustful scrogging till we both collapsed from exhaustion. We still never talk about it, but we share the innuendo and knowing looks. I love my wife. Girl I used to see recently asked me to help with her Halloween costume. Went to her place and she only had on the angel wings and thigh-high stockings. Gave me the cheekiest, is that even a word? Smile and wink. Needless to say we were late for the party. Cheekiest, is that even a word? Mate, do you even speak British? Yeah? Cheekiest is totes defo an actual word, boss. It was an ex, but we were in high school at the time and had recently been caught fooling around by her parents. To get around this we had to be very cautious. One night she tells me she wants to go on a walk. We go outside to the end of her dead-end street and without a word said she dropped down to her knees and went down on me. Afterwards she wiped her lip and said that's just what I wanted. We walked back to her house playing it off the best two stupid teenagers could. Once early on in our relationship I went to visit my so at work for lunch wearing a skirt. When I walked into his office he took one look at me, shoved his chair away from his desk and spread his legs so I could see he was hard in his trousers. Lock the door and take your panties off. Something about the way he ordered me to do that. Oof. I have a bit of a kink for fooling around in public he had just found out about. And having him go for it was so f***ing hot. We've since had SX a few times in his office but that will always be the hottest. Woke me up in the middle of the night to have SX. She got on top and when I was about to finish she whispers. Wasn't and so. Rather just a girl I was having a fling with. But the memory is crystallized in my mind. We were at her apartment. It was the middle of the day. And we had just been fooling around. She gets out of bed, grabs a Powerade bottle and starts drinking it. And she's just standing there in the middle of the room completely naked. The sunlight beaming in through the window and accenting every curve of her body. And I'm just staring at her and feeling the happiest I've ever felt in my life. Anyway, that fling lasted a couple weeks and then she tore my heart out like that scene in Temple of Doom. I'm having boners from this thread. I'm a woman and having boners from this thread. She called me while I was in work that she is feeling sick. I came home and found her sleeping in bed covering herself fully with blanket. She was sick and the only prescription was some vitamin D. The wink she gives at random times during blessings. Edit. Auto-corrected blowjobs to blessings. I'll accept it. When she calls you father instead of daddy. I came on her. She licked it from her lips with the smoothest look on her face. Blue eye. The FCK me eyes get me every time. First thought was a pirate lifting up his eye patch and saying yar FCK me eyes. He woke me up by eating me out. And told me I wasn't to come until he told me to. Unfortunately for me. He's very good between my legs and I just couldn't help myself. So as my punishment he held my arms down and continued to eat me out until he sent me into another screaming orgasm. And continued again until I was begging for mercy and using our safe word. My legs were so wobbly all throughout the day. Woke me up with a blowjob. And thanked me for it when I was done. Then whispered go back to sleep. I was a little dirty and blew him on the bus. But didn't finish him. When we came home we got inside and he pushed me to the wall and slammed his hand next to my head and said that was very rude. His buttery golden voice combined with the lust and confidence in his eyes. Man. I'll never forget that. After we did an L for the first time. After I came. She rolled over. Kissed me. And said. Do it again. I did. Been with my boyfriend for almost 9 years. And had a lot of incredibly SI times. But one of the best was in his dorm when we were like 19. I'd never smoked weed before and he held the bowl and lit it for me. And in the pitch black in his bedroom went down on me for like half an hour. I can still remember every sensation perfectly. It was insane. Last week I wanted to show her something on the computer. She was getting ready to shower. She walked in pants on, no top, arms covering her boobs. We have been together 10 years. It wasn't cold. We made good use of the 10-minute we had until the pizza she put in the oven was ready. Who gets ready to shower after putting a pizza in? I'd like to practice deep throating. Would you help me? FWB texted me asking me what bra I'd like her to wear before coming over. Surprise me. She came in with a zip-up hoodie with no bra underneath. Sat on my lap. Let me unzip the thing and discover the surprise. Then shoved my face in there. I have never flung a girl on the bed and ripped off her pants that fast in my life. On my birthday. She put on P-Runstar style makeup and a corset. Sat me on a chair. Said you can't move or touch me unless I tell you to. Then proceeded to give me one of the most epic blowjobs I've ever had. Taking her sweet time and using every trick in her arsenal, including the deep throat she practiced. See first point. I came so much I felt her swallowing twice in a row. Like sleeping W my cock in her. Spooning. That sounds like a recipe for no sleep at all. I went to visit her at work. I'm sitting in the waiting room for a bit, then she walks out in her doctor's jacket and high heels looking absolutely gorgeous. Hadn't seen her in a month and had never seen her at work. Was stunned. He woke me up in the middle of the night for sex. He pulls off my underwear and goes to toss them to the side when he stops and looks at them for a beat. He crumples them up in his hand and says, "Here. Hold these for me." And stuffs them in my mouth. F-king sploosh.